Coming up on Hoosier Sports Nite, the women's basketball team comes home a winner. And the men's basketball squad has their postseason hopes hanging on by a thread. This is Hoosier Sports Nite. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Hoosier Sports Nite. I'm Ara Cowper, and I'm excited to bring you all things Hoosier sports. From an IU football injury update to Indiana basketball recaps, we have a lot to talk about. So let's get started. With just 2 weeks left in the regular season, the Indiana women's basketball team hit the road last night looking to finish the season strong and perhaps make Hoosier sports history.
The 11th-ranked Indiana women's basketball team was back in action following their top 15 win over the Michigan Wolverines last week. The Hoosiers hit the road and took on the Badgers in Madison, where they continued to work their way up the top 25 with a 77-49 victory. Mackenzie Holmes continued her remarkable sophomore season with 23 points and 9 rebounds as the Hoosiers finished off the season sweep of Wisconsin. This marks their 13th Big Ten win of the season, which ties the record they set last season. Head coach Terry Morin had this to say following the victory.
We kept our foot on the pedal and, give our kids credit for finishing the job that they had to do. I thought we were great. Obviously 50 to 22 rebounding edge tonight, 18 offensive rebounds, which was tremendous. Right at 15 turnovers. We were trying to stay a little bit under that, but nonetheless, I just thought, again, got to play everybody, which is always a fun thing for us to be able to do. And so we're excited to be leaving here with a victory.
Up next on the schedule for IU is a potential revenge game against Ohio State. The Hoosiers will travel to Columbus Saturday looking for a season series split and their first win over OSU since January of 2010. The main key for the Hoosiers will be breaking the Ohio State zone defense, which loomed large in the 70-78 loss earlier this year. A Hoosier win would be their 7th in a row and move IU one step closer to securing the 2nd seed in the Big Ten tournament with 2 games remaining on the regular season schedule. For Andrew Fish, I'm Will Trubshaw reporting for IUSTV Sports.
The Hoosiers now have just 3 games remaining before the Big Ten tournament to set the all-time conference win record. IU football had a great season with plenty of storylines last fall, but one of the biggest stories was an injury to starting quarterback Michael Penix Jr. Luke Christopher Norton is in studio with more. Luke?
Thanks, Ara. IU quarterback Michael Penix Jr. tore his ACL during the Hoosiers matchup of the Maryland Terrapins in November, and after undergoing surgery in December, Penix has been rehabbing ever since. Penix is no stranger to the rehab process, having torn the same ACL in 2018. His recovery schedule has included training with teammate Marcelino Ball, who suffered the same injury this past fall.
Right now, I'm on schedule, if not maybe a little bit ahead of schedule. I've been working extremely hard to get back. I'm doing everything I can to go out and just continue to help motivate the team, still be the leader. Even though I can't do certain activities. But I've been doing real good, progressing every week, and I feel myself getting a lot stronger and feeling more comfortable in my body still.
Penix hasn't progressed to working out on the field and is focused on working with trainers to stay healthy while taking precautions. He's expected to be fully healthy by the time of the Hoosiers' first game on September 4th at Iowa. Back to you, Laura.
Thanks, Luke. The men's basketball team had a must-win game against Rutgers Wednesday night, but ended up on the losing side. Our Lexi Vanetti has the coverage.
Coming off Saturday's loss to Michigan State, the Hoosiers needed a win. Bad, but Rutgers came out and won 74-63.
It's a humbling game. It's a humbling second half for us. I think it's the first time all season long our team has really looked fractured, where we didn't know how to compete, what to do. And that goes back to me.
In the first half, the Hoosiers led by 15 points. Trace Jackson-Davis and Al Durham led this momentum.
It just came in the flow of things. We were playing defense. We were getting out in transition. We were together, locked in, and we were, holding them to, one shot. So we were able to execute the game plan early in the game. We just got to be able to pull it throughout the game for 40 minutes.
But this team is consistent, and when the defense struggles, the team cannot get out on top.
To me, we're letting our defense completely be affected right now by whatever's going on in the game, whether that's a bad play on offense, whether that's a bad stretch on offense. But at the end of the day, we get quiet. And right now is not the time of year to be doing that.
Hoosiers' lack of ability to control the ball is disrupting their offensive flow and allowing other teams with easy conversions at their end.
We have a big finish. We have a lot of things at stake. We have a lot of things right in front of us. We've worked very hard to get right there. Got a great opportunity on Saturday at home, but it's not going to work in any game that we play the rest of the season if our competitiveness in our concentration when things aren't going well, it doesn't come back around.
For IUSTV Sports, I'm Lexi Vanetti.
And the Hoosiers tip off next at noon versus number 3 Michigan on Saturday, back home at Assembly Hall. And speaking of Assembly Hall, the NCAA announced fans will be allowed for March Madness. There will be a 25% capacity limit to all rounds of the men's basketball tournament. But for the games at Assembly, IU will only allow 500 spectators. The seats are reserved for immediate family members of players and staff, vaccinated medical personnel, and first responders from Monroe County. This is in accordance with the university and medical recommendations. Although not at the expected time or location, the IU men's soccer team got their quest for 9 underway, taking on a pair of Big Ten opponents. Jack Edwards has the recap.
Over 400 days since their last time on the field, the IU men's soccer team got back in action with matches against Wisconsin and Ohio State at Grand Park. On Friday against Wisconsin, IU struggled out of the gates, but made up for it with a quick-fire brace from Victor Becerra. The sophomore put home 2 loose balls with clinical finishes to put IU firmly in control. Early in the second half, a nice move saw Brett Beebe put a cross into Thomas War, putting IU 3 up, which is how things looked after 90. The theme continued on Tuesday as the Hoosiers had a poor first half display, but turned it around with a Daniel Mooney goal from a corner early in the second half. Victor Becerra continued his red-hot form, winning a penalty, scoring the penalty, then shooting from outside the box and scoring from outside the box, making it back-to-back 3-0 wins. Despite the results, head coach Todd Yeagley wasn't happy with the performances.
And I'll take the responsibility. Maybe we didn't, we had a lot of things we talked about tactically before the game, but maybe they need to kick in the ass more than that. It just wasn't the IU toughness that we're very proud of, for one, and one that's a requirement.
The Hoosiers travel to Northwestern in their next match as they look to maintain perfection in the Big Ten. Slight injuries to Victor Becerra, Nick Sessig, and Lawson Redmond may complicate things for IU, but they should find themselves favored in their first matchup of 2 against the Wildcats this season. For IUSTV Sports, I'm Jack Edwards.
IU travels to Evanston next to take on a Northwestern team projected to finish 6th in the Big Ten in a preseason poll. You'll be able to watch the match live on BTN Plus at noon on Saturday. Over the weekend, the IU women's golf team traveled to Turtle Point Golf Course to play in the Palmetto Intercollegiate in Kiowa Island, South Carolina. The team finished in 11th place, with Mary Parsons finishing 24th overall as IU's top individual player. Parsons shot a final round 75 to finish the weekend 13 over par. Other members of the team included Angela Ong, who finished her weekend in 40th place at 21 over par. Hannah Tanaka, who finished in 57th place at 32 strokes over par. Valerie Clancy shot a 40 over par for a 60th place finish, and Maddie Ditto finished in 61st place, shooting 46 over par. The Hoosiers will be on the course again in South Carolina for the Briars Creek Invitational on March 15th and 16th. Steve Aird's young squad has gotten off to a tough start this year, standing at 2-9. IUSTV's Justin Berger has the story following the most recent loss to in-state rival Purdue.
In just 82 minutes, it was over. Indiana lost their 9th match of the season.
If we don't win the serve and pass, you're going to be in trouble. I think the frustrating part was 4 or 5 of them were in the first game. It's like basketball players and free throws when they get mad that they don't make free throws. And they're like, do they practice it? It's like, yeah. practice it all the time. We serve all the time with pressure. We do every drill where we're serving. So it's unfortunate.
Purdue rolled in Bloomington on Tuesday night, although they were certainly helped by the errors committed by Indiana. The good news, the Hoosiers will have a chance to right those wrongs on Sunday night in West Lafayette.
React to what's going on type player, and she spent a lot more time in the film room. She's become a lot more vocal at practice. She organizes the team before sets now.
We talk a lot about like the little things and the communication, being in the right spots, just following the game plan that the coaches give us because it works. And we just have to hold ourselves more accountable.
Accountability is going to be key for the Hoosiers as they march on this season, especially as they head into their second match with Purdue on Sunday. Head coach Steve Aird doesn't seem to be bothered by the challenge.
They've had a stranglehold on this thing for, 20 years now. And I'm excited about the opportunity to make a change in time. And I would just say be patient, hang in there with us. I think I know how the movie ends.
For IUSTV Sports, I'm Justin Berger.
Indiana will look to add win number 3 against Purdue in West Lafayette on Sunday. IU track and field wrapped up their regular season at home on Saturday, hosting the Big Ten Open in a dual meet against Purdue. Picking up victories all across the field included Alyssa Robinson taking first place in the 60-meter dash, as Maria Anderson picked up the victory in the 400-meter along with a host of other women's victories. The men's team also secured some first-place finishes, with Hoosiers sweeping the podium in the 800-meter event. Senior Nick Lane wrapped up the victories for the day with the first place in the weight throw. The Hoosiers are currently in Geneva, Ohio, competing in the Big Ten Championship, so make sure you come back next week to see how they did. And that's our show for the week. Thanks so much for tuning in, and don't forget to like our page, IUSTV Sports, on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter at IUSTV Sports. For our production crew behind me, I'm Ara Cowper, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.